I say amen to everything.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Boy and Madsy. Stay safe.
Thank you for having us.
Be blessed.
Thank you. God bless. Now, can I call on our CS in Manila, BLD Manila, but they're not in Manila now. Mari and Raul Garcia.
The family of Archbishop N Lagdameo, represented by Dr. Willie, Thea, and Vic. Brothers and sisters, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Where do we begin to tell the story of how great a love can be? That is the opening line of the familiar theme song of the movie Love Story. It seems to tie together the stories shared during this 9-day novena. It is a story of love. It is therefore an honor and a privilege for Marie and me to share with you our own love story with His Excellency Archbishop N Lagdameo, who the Council of Servant Leaders fondly call ANL.
We were relatively new in the community when we first met ANL to do a yeoman task. By next year, we'll be celebrating, by God's grace, our 30th year. We were asked to drive him home after our corporate worship in Santuario, which we readily accepted. He chose to sit by the front next to Raul, and I tried to start a conversation to warm up the evening. But of all the things one can say to an archbishop, I asked him if he wanted to pray the rosary on our way home. He broke into laughter and said, "No, there is no need." I realized later on that my opening salvo was not the best way to introduce ourselves. He insisted for us to meet his sister Teresita, or Tita Nene, who warmly engaged us in a small talk. ANL suddenly disappeared, only to reappear holding a can that he wanted us to give our children. It was a can of special cookies from his hometown in Lucban, Quezon. That can of cookies was the start of our love affair with a man who is so easy to love and yet so difficult to forget. We were starstruck.
Little did we know that many years later, we were destined to work directly under him, serving for 2 straight terms as members of the Executive Council of Servant Leaders. It was during this period of 6 years that he filled our hearts with very special things, with angel songs and wild imagining, as our song goes. One of the wildest imaginings that ANL indulged in was the Covenant House, which Marie and I were responsible for, as servant leaders for management. In one of his many pastoral visits, he casually told the ECSL that at the next BLD Global Interdistrict in one of his many pastoral visits, he casually told the ECSL that at the next BLD Global Interdistrict Conference, or IDC for short, he wanted all the delegates to be booked at the Covenant House instead of at hotels nearby. Marie and I quietly looked at each other for 2 simple reasons. First, there was no money for such a big project. And second, there was very limited time. But ANL, who was a man of deep faith, simply went about his business as though our bank account was overflowing and time was in our hands. We were to add 33 more new rooms to the existing 44 rooms of the Covenant House, expanding its capacity to 77 rooms. With blind faith and complete obedience to our shepherd, Project 77 was born, which we headed.
Knowing our financial situation, we entrusted Project 77 to the Lord completely and claimed his promise in Psalm 127 verse 1, unless the Lord build the house, they labor in vain who build. Lo and behold, the Lord sent a competent and experienced contractor who willingly signed the contract with Raul without questioning our ability to pay. ENL must really have a direct link to the Lord, even while he was here on earth, because like clockwork, the funds started to pour in, mostly from BLD districts and individual members, providing the exact amount at the exact time that we needed to pay the contractor. Soliciting donations is never easy, and whenever we felt discouraged, ANL was always there to inspire us. With him around, who could be lonely? We reach for his hand, it's always there. As our love story song continues, with ANL as our biggest promoter, the 33 rooms were gradually built one after another.
The IDC-4 was held on February 2014, and by God's miracle, all the delegates were accommodated at the Covenant House for the conference. ANL's prayer was granted by the Lord. When he blessed the new rooms at the start of the IDC, he was beaming from ear to ear and welcomed the participants with open arms. So to our dear BLD members who are tuned in, whenever you are at the Covenant House, please remember to say a prayer of thanksgiving for ANL. He was the lighthouse who gave us hope and direction when those 33 rooms were being constructed on the right wing.
We also have to thank him for the turnaround of the Covenant House that was brought about by Project 77. With its expanded capacity, it suddenly started to make money for the first time in history. It began to attract not only our BLD districts, but also other communities, parishes, and schools. With its improved performance, it soon allowed us to cement the road leading up to the entrance gate. Thank you, ANL, for your wild imagining that transformed the Covenant House to what it is today.
As time went on, we began to notice that ANL was having difficulty going up and down the stairs of the Covenant House. After much prayer, Marie and I proposed to the council to convert the meeting room next to the chapel to a bedroom for his exclusive use and name it after him. He wasn't aware of any of our plans and was totally surprised. When we finally turned over the key to his room equipped with a bathroom, a small refrigerator, and a TV set for his teleserye.
When he saw his name on the door, and we informed him that the room was for his exclusive use, so he could come anytime, he flashed a smile that we've never seen before, a smile we will never forget. That room represented the love of the BLD community for ANL, and it clearly meant a lot to him. He looked very, very happy. We've never mentioned this to anyone before, but in one of our private moments with him thereafter, he intimated the remote possibility of the Covenant House as a retirement place where he can give regular teachings to BLD and other communities. He wanted to build a chapel where he can say Mass and name it the Chapel of the 12 Apostles. He even hinted at making it his final resting place. Our hearts leaped with joy, but we know now that Jaro Iloilo was his final choice. Many are the plans of the human heart, but it is the decision of the Lord that endures. Proverbs 19, verse 21.
The coffee table book, or the CTV, was yet another miracle project during our term. ANL, in his usual gentle and meek manner, repeatedly expressed his desire to have the CTV published in time for the 30th year anniversary of BLD. It was a carryover project from the previous council. As management servant leaders again, it fell under our responsibility. Marie and I once again looked at each other for the same two reasons. The first, the printing cost of the CTV ran up to millions. And second, the time for the 30th anniversary was clicking away really fast.
But this time around, the unwavering faith of ANL had rubbed off on us. The contract was signed quickly with an established publisher, not knowing where the funds will come from. But we serve a faithful God. The love offerings from BLD districts, members, friends, and sponsors started to come. Once again, we raised the right amount of money at the right time when payment was due to the publisher. The hardbound 239-page full-color BLD coffee table book entitled A Continuing Journey of Faith, Hope, and Love was launched exactly on the 30th anniversary of BLD. We saw the joy and pride written all over his face when BLD members started lining up to get their copies signed by ANL. And it now stands as a priceless and treasured legacy of ANL to the BLD global community that we can truly be proud of. Thank you, ANL.
One of the toughest tasks assigned to the ECSL during our term was the desire of ANL for BLD to finally get official recognition and explicit approval by the Holy See. We happened to be the presiding servant leaders, and we arranged for a canon lawyer from CBCP to assist us in complying with the blueprint for recognition required by the Pontifical Council for the Laity. The ECSL painstakingly worked very long hours at the CBCP office to get the job done. I remember that when we submitted the final document to ANL, there was a look of relief on his face. BLD was 30 years in existence at that time and has not gotten recognition from the Vatican. We knew that he wanted to set things in order before stepping down. Thank you, ANL, for always having the good of the BLD community at heart. There'll never be another love, another time. That's how our song goes.
We could go on and on talking about the many programs of ANL for BLD that we work on as part of the ECSL, but there isn't enough time. And I like best sharing about how ANL touched our personal lives. So allow us to give you a few snippets of our personal encounter with him before we end our eulogy. ANL would fly to Manila once every quarter for the business meetings and one-on-ones with the ECSL. We used to look forward to the reflection he would give the ECSL. We would be prepared with our notebooks and take down all the wisdom that he would share with us. He would normally stay at the CBCP headquarters in Intramuros and be picked up for the BLD Secretariat office in Pasig. There was one time when his pastoral visit coincided with the feast day of the Black Nazarene on January 9. Many roads were blocked and access to the CBCP from the airport was going to be difficult and unpredictable. We invited him to stay at our home, and he gladly accepted our offer. We really appreciate the time that we spent with him, the quality time that we spent with A&L. There, we got to know him up close and personal without the usual fuss and activities that surround his pastoral visits. Thank you, A&L, for blessing our family with a royal visit by a prince of the church on the feast day of the Black Nazarene.
Our love for A&L has rubbed off on our two children, who witnessed how much our loves revolved around him during the 6 years that we worked with him. We asked him to officiate the wedding of our daughter Trina to Jang Moreno. Despite his busy schedule at the time as CBCP president, he obliged, flew to Manila and traveled all the way to Tagaytay for the event. He took time to find out about their love story to make his homily personalized. We were touched by his gesture and love for our family. We are now in Michigan visiting our son PV, and we were surprised to see posted on his refrigerator a picture of A&L with our family.
We have many more stories about you, dear Archbishop Angel, about your humility and simplicity, even though you were like a rock star and people at the airport would stop you to have their pictures taken with you. You were gifted with a sense of humor which made us laugh, even in the midst of a seeming crisis. Your homilies were always full of wisdom, which you would leave hanging at the end, challenging us to draw our own conclusion. You were a fun guy to be with, and you agreed with Raul to enter the Covenant House driveway, riding a top-down sports car at the Inter-District Conference in 2014. How cool is that? Oh, A&L, you came into our life and made the living fine. You fill our hearts as our song continues.
Thank you for serving the BLD community for 22 years. We are forever grateful for all you have done, and will always cherish the lavish you shared with us.
Wisdom.
The lavish wisdom. Today we bid you farewell. Please pray for us and our children and for your BLD family. We love you. Your Excellency, Archbishop Angel N Lagdameo, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. Ecclesiastes verse 3, verses 1 to 2. Your appointed time has come, and you are now in the presence of the Lord. Finally, fulfilling your favorite passage. Your presence, O Lord, I seek. It is time for us to say goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you, Raul and Mary, for that heartwarming, beautiful narration of your experiences with our dear, beloved Bishop Angel. What can I say? Um, you are so blessed for having those time and moments with him, especially that one with your family. Oh, I wish we too had that chance. Anyway, I know he is with us in spirit, and we continue to pray for him, and we know he will continue to pray for all of us, the BLD members he dearly loved. So our last sharer will